us to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I stand before you today with a stark reality and a vital opportunity. When a Texan takes a step to proactively visit their doctor and specifically request screening for sexually transmitted diseases, they are unknowingly missing a critical piece of the puzzle, HIV testing. Currently in the state of Texas, HIV testing is not included in the standard screening of panel tests offered for STDs. Before joining this body, I dedicated 2 decades of my career towards ending the epidemic, and I remain concerned that there is not a system in place to offer routine HIV testing when someone is actively seeking screenings for sexually transmitted diseases. This is not an abstract issue for me. This is a matter of life and death. HB50 offers a solution. It's a solution that is both simple and profoundly impactful. It ensures that an HIV test is offered, not mandatory, to individuals who undergo STD screenings. This bill explicitly protects individuals' rights by requiring informed consent and giving an individual to opt out to decline the test. In closing, I stand here today not as just a legislator, but as someone who has lived through this. No Texan should have to plead with their doctor to get an HIV test because they look healthy, as I did when I received my diagnosis 18 years ago in 2007. This bill has unanimous support from the medical community. Thank you to the bipartisan coalition of members who have signed on to support this bill. Thank you to my joint authors, Representative Tom Oliverson, Vice Chair Tony Rose, Vice Chair Liz Campos, and Chairman Ryan Guillen. Together, we can end the HIV epidemic in this great state. And I have a perfecting amendment.
Mr. Oliverson, for what purpose?
Does the author yield for a quick question
Will
or
the
two?
gentleman yield for a question?
Yes.
The gentleman yields.
Okay. Representative, I appreciate what you're trying to do here, and I just want to be clear. I've had multiple people come to me and ask me questions about your bill, so I just want to clarify a few things so that everybody in the body understands what we're actually voting on. So under existing law, if a person goes and has a wild time and ends up doing some things they shouldn't have done and ends up in the doctor's office the next day, Mr. Speaker, could I have some order, please?
Members, please take your conversations outside the rail.
So under existing law, Representative, if somebody engages in risky behavior and goes to the doctor seeking to be screened for a sexually transmitted disease, and they say, "Doctor, I want you to check me for an STD," does that include an HIV test?
Not at this time.
So unless that individual looks that doctor in the eye and says, "I want you to screen me for an STD and I want you to give me an HIV test," they will not receive an HIV test. Is that right?
That is correct.
So all you're seeking to do with this bill is include HIV as part of the standard STD for somebody who is already asking to be screened for HIV. Is that correct?
You're absolutely right, Dr. Oliverson.
This bill, as I understand it, does not require HIV testing. We're not randomly just picking people out of the public. It doesn't authorize a doctor to order an HIV test on somebody without their consent. Is that right?
That's right.
And so even under your bill, if they said, they're going to be screened for an STD, as part of that, you still have to consent them for HIV testing, right?
Absolutely. You have to consent for every test that's performed.
And they have the right to opt out of that.
At any time.
And you haven't mentioned this, I don't think, but are you aware that the majority of people right now who are spreading HIV to others are people who are unaware of their own HIV status?
Absolutely. Of the 100,000 people who are living with HIV in Texas, 20,000 of those individuals are unaware of their status and make up 80% of the spread of HIV at this time.
And is it important for the body to understand that newer treatments for HIV actually prevent the spread of this virus to others? So if a person actually knows their HIV status, they can prevent it being transmitted to a loved one. Is that right?
That is correct.
Representative, I think you have a great bill, and I look forward to it passing. Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
for your
Speaker.
support, Dr. Oliverson. And I have an amendment.
Does the representative yield for a
Will
question?
the gentleman yield for
Yes.
questions? The gentleman
Actually,
yields.
it's not a question. I just want to thank you so much for this bill. It really means a lot to me and has touched my heart because unfortunately I lost an uncle to AIDS in 1987, and had this been around, maybe he'd still be here with us. He was 42, so really means a lot. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you so much.
The following amendment, the clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment by Jones of Dallas.
The chair recognizes Mr. Jones to explain the amendment.
Members, this is just a perfecting amendment that points to the code regarding informed consent. I move passage.
Mr. Jones sends up an amendment. The amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection? Well, there's a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Ms. Garcia of Bear voting aye. Show Mr. Jones of Dallas voting aye. Show Dr. Oliverson voting aye. Show Mr. Romero voting aye. Have all voted. Show Ms. Campos voting aye. Have all voted. There being 131 ayes, 16 nays, the amendment is adopted. The chair recognizes Mr. Jones to close on the bill.
Move passage.
The question occurs on passage to engrossment of House Bill 50. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Dr. Oliverson voting aye. Show Mr. Romero voting aye. Have all voted. There being 125 ayes, 22 nays, House Bill 50 is passed to engrossment.